The palace, the cameras, the crown. You think you know her. But you don't. Because behind the polished smile lies a truth no one expected. A truth that rewrites the idea of what a modern queen must be. And tonight, in this dramatized journey, that truth finally unfolds. She was born for the throne. Raised for responsibility. Trained for duty. But destiny was never supposed to feel this heavy, this human, this achingly real. And yet, Princess Leonor's transformation into a modern queen did not begin with power. It began with doubt, with fear, with a quiet question whispered inside her own mind. Am I enough? That question became the spark that changed everything. Her story begins not in a grand hall, but in silence. Late nights at her desk in Zarzuela Palace, papers spread like a map of a life she was still learning to navigate. The world saw a future monarch. But she saw a young woman trying to understand who she was allowed to be. The pressure was relentless. Every gesture analyzed, every word studied, every expression magnified until it lost its meaning. And still she smiled, still she waved, still she carried the burden of centuries with a grace no one her age should ever be expected to possess. But transformation is never gentle. It demands breaking before rebuilding, letting go before rising. And Leonor's journey began the moment she realized the crown would not shape her unless she dared to shape herself first. At the military academy in Zaragoza, the shift started quietly. Not in the drills, not in the salutes, but in the unexpected humility of being treated not as a princess but as an equal. The uniform erased hierarchy, the routine stripped away privilege. The early mornings, the exhaustion, the discipline, they did not weaken her. They revealed her. There, surrounded by cadets who judged her not by her title but by her effort, she discovered something she had been denied her entire life. The freedom to fail, the freedom to improve, the freedom to grow, and with that freedom came the realization that leadership was not inherited. It was earned, but growth does not happen in a straight line. For every step forward, she faced a moment that pulled her back. There were days when her body trembled from exhaustion. Days when she questioned why she was doing this. Days when she wondered whether she was living for herself, or for Spain. Those around her saw only determination. But inside, she was fighting a deeper battle. To reconcile the girl she had been with the queen she was expected to become. Her parents felt the tension too. Queen Letizia watched her daughter with a mixture of pride and worry. She knew the weight Leonor carried, because she had carried it too, in her own way. King Felipe, steady and disciplined, saw in Leonor a reflection of himself at that age, the sense of duty, the quiet resolve, the unspoken loneliness of training for a life no one else could truly understand. In private, they tried to strengthen her. Not with commands, but with honesty, guidance, love. Their conversations, rare, intimate, sacred, became the invisible threads holding her together. Yet no one could walk the path for her. She alone had to face the truth buried deep inside. To become a modern queen, she would have to become a modern woman first. Her transformation deepened when she began attending private briefings on national issues. Suddenly, the abstract idea of future queen sharpened into real responsibility. Education, economy, security, environmental crises, the lives of millions resting on decisions she would one day have to make. It terrified her. And it motivated her. She started asking questions no one expected from someone her age. Not out of rebellion, but out of a desire to understand, truly understand, the people she would one day serve. Her advisors noticed. Her parents noticed. And slowly, Spain began to notice too. But transformation is not just intellectual. It is emotional, personal, painful. Leonor had always been protected, shielded, hidden from the harshest realities. But a modern queen cannot rule from behind a curtain. So she stepped outside her comfort zone, visiting schools, hospitals, communities, and military families whose struggles taught her humility in a way no textbook ever could. She listened to their stories, felt their fears, absorbed their hopes, and with every encounter, she shed another layer of the girl she once was. Yet even as she grew stronger, the world around her grew louder. Commentators dissected every outfit, every gesture, every rumor, every whisper. Some admired her, some doubted her, some simply waited for her to fail. But the real turning point came not from critics. It came from a single moment in Zaragoza, one that would shape the woman she would become. During a training exercise, one of her fellow cadets struggled with the weight of his gear. Others moved ahead, pushing to complete the course. Leonor stopped, looked back, and returned to help him. No cameras, no ceremony, no applause, just instinct, just leadership, just humanity. That moment traveled quietly through the academy, not as gossip, but as respect, and for Leonor, it became the symbol of her transformation. Power meant nothing if it did not serve others. Her confidence grew, not flashy, not loud, but steady. Rooted, earned through sweat, tears, and a newfound belief that she could carry the weight of a crown without losing the softness of her heart. But personal transformation is never complete without inner reconciliation. The expectations of monarchy had always clashed with her private desires. To laugh freely, to choose her own path, to love without fear, to live without the constant shadow of duty. These desires did not fade as she grew. They sharpened, and she struggled with them quietly, privately, balancing the woman she wanted to be with the queen she needed to become. In time, she discovered a truth wiser than any tradition. A modern queen does not erase her humanity. She leads with it. Her compassion became her strength. Her discipline became her shield. Her vulnerability became her bridge to the people she would one day represent. And so, step by step, moment by moment, she transformed. Not into a perfect monarch crafted by centuries of expectation, but into a woman shaped by experience, empathy, and resilience. The world began to see it too. Not in grand speeches or majestic ceremonies, but in small gestures, authentic smiles, thoughtful words, a grounded presence, a sense of purpose that radiated not from entitlement, but from humility. Her journey was far from over. Transformation is lifelong. Leadership is learned with every day lived. But she had crossed the threshold. No longer the girl preparing for the future, but the woman ready to shape it. Her story is not a fairy tale. It is not perfect. It is not effortless. It is real, human, courageous. This is the making of a modern queen. Not by tradition alone, not by destiny alone, but by choice, by growth, by the quiet, powerful evolution of a young woman who refused to let the crown define her, and instead chose to define the crown. Her journey continues, and the world watches, not to see if she will stumble, but to witness how she will rise.